What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. Well, I guess today we're officially on Switch 2 Watch. Well, Switch 2 announcement for then the announcement and trailer watch. Nintendo could do that at any time today, so we'll keep an eye out. But in the meantime, while we're waiting, we do have some more information getting out there around this device, specifically a pretty major feature that Nintendo appears to be set to introduce, and we'll go over that here today. Also, we are going to be talking about Skate, which I feel like a lot of people have forgotten about it after it was announced a while ago, but we do have an update when it comes to the console side of things. And then Assassin's Creed Black Flag has been rumored for quite some time to get a remake, but it turns out this might be a bigger project than people were expecting. So if you guys enjoy these videos, make sure you hit that like button, helps out a ton. And if new here to the Spawnwave channel, make sure you subscribe down below. And of course, members to the channel do get Newswave early. If you would like to learn more about that, click the join button down below this video. And we're going to start today with another thing from Nintendo that's happening this week, and that is Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. Yeah, that's kind of flown under the radar, of course, because of all the Switch 2 talk, but it is out this week, and it just hasn't really been a lot of excitement around it because, well, it's basically the Wii game, and then kind of the 3DS game, sort of, right? All combined into one. So we've already played this game, but we did have reviews go live. You can see this posted up. This is over on Metacritic, currently coming in at a score of 77. That's on 63 critic reviews. And as I was looking up and down the list of reviews, many of them say, hey, this is technically the definitive way to play the game. I mean, one, it's going to look better on like a HD display, a bigger screen, and technically it gets rid of any motion controls, and it gets rid of the performance issues with the 3DS, and it bundles it all nicely here in one release. But then, of course, they all go back to the idea of, hey, this is kind of an expensive game if you consider what it's based on, game from what, 2010 on the Wii, and here it is now technically at $60. So hey, if you've missed this game, like if you didn't play it on the Wii or the 3DS, it is a high quality, a good platformer. It's proven that, like 2D platformer. But if you've already played it, there might not be too much new here at all for you to really check out. But nonetheless, it is out this week. Also, we did get an announcement for actually another remaster. This one, though, is a bit of a collection for Lunar. Now, we can see this over on Gamatsu. They say the Lunar Remaster Collection will launch for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC via Steam on April 18th. Now, the digital edition, that's available for $50, right? But there is a physical edition for North America that's available exclusively through Amazon, and I checked as they had it here. It's at $55, and I was looking at that. I think I'm grabbing that physical edition. Now, in Europe, they do have physical PlayStation 4 and Switch editions. Those are through, they say, distributor Clear River Games. That's priced at $55 as well. Of course, difference in terms of exchange rates and stuff. But this is great because the physical editions will feature reversible covers, showcasing, they say, 2 new key arts for Lunar Silver Story Complete and then Lunar 2 Eternal Blue Complete. So I'm on board with that. I'll be checking that one out. I mean, I was going to get it either way, even if it's just digital, because I mentioned before, Lunar was kind of a series that I didn't have too much experience with back in the day, and I would love to go back and be able to, I guess, not revisit, but visit them, technically, for the first time. But I'm sure many Lunar fans out there are very excited to revisit some of these classic games, because they are held in high regard, so I'll be checking them out for the first time and see what that's all about. Oh, and we did have our first look for the Until Dawn movie, and gotta say, kind of strange. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Until Dawn anyway, the game itself. I know there are many people who do like it. It's an interesting kind of choose-your-own adventure kind of game. Like, the outcomes will change from your decisions, and it basically changes up who lives and who doesn't. And as they say in the trailer, they have to survive until dawn. There you go. They said the movie name in the first look. But nonetheless, the issue people are having with this initial explanation and trailer of what the movie is doesn't really sound that much like Until Dawn. They can't seem to do too much of the idea of choosing or making decisions in a movie, clearly. So what they're doing is kind of like Groundhog's Day mixed in with it, and basically they just keep reverting back in time and keep going through it in different ways, I guess, and it's just like a random house. So I don't know, if you're a big fan of Until Dawn, let me know what you thought about that first look trailer down below. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with the Nintendo Switch 2 that, I mean, by tomorrow we should know a lot more about this system. But in the meantime, we've kind of already learned a lot about it. And most of that's through different leaks and images and stories and reports getting out there. And now it appears even data mining is coming into play, which this is posted up. This is over on Discord. There's like a Switch 2 server that's set up. And of course, a lot of messages getting thrown around. However, one person in particular seems to be data mining the latest OS from Nintendo for, I guess, the Switch. And they're finding things in there that seem to correlate then over to the Switch 2. I guess just Nintendo preparing firmware and other things for compatibility there. Well, we can see this though that was posted up, and it was also corroborated over on Famaboards. This is from LIC, who's very familiar with a lot of this stuff and would be able to back up data mining that's taking place a bit more solidly than others, I'll say. But this is the message from Discord mentioning that C button and chat functionality. Hold on a minute. Nintendo taking a step into the future here. Data mines of the current Switch OS and exclusive SDK leaks have confirmed that the Switch 2 will have GC and VC. Now they had to go on to correct what that means because, let's face it, you see GC, we all think of one of the GOAT systems with the GameCube, clearly. Now this is for like group chat and voice chat. All right, so functionality, codenamed Campus. This is what the C button may be for, unconfirmed, but I'm 99.99% sure, which, yeah, if you codename it Campus and you have a little C there, that lines up. I would actually look to C, maybe standing more for community. And that, I think, is pretty exciting for Nintendo, which we'll get to here in a minute. But say that groups will support up to 12 Nintendo Switch Online subscribers, and there will be screen sharing. Nothing like Miiverse. Vidmeo also isn't real, which we didn't cover that, but that was like this weird thing that was going back and forth, kind of playing into the idea of like a Miiverse video. I don't know. It was strange. You get a lot of LARPing and people throwing stuff around, especially on the build-up to a highly anticipated system like this. But the idea of group chat, voice chat being system level, I know it's a funny thing to be excited about. It kind of reminds me a bit of when Nintendo was showing the Switch OLED. Remember they're showing the system like, okay, that looks cool. 7-inch OLED screen. Then they show the dock and they're doing the big sweeping shot, come around to the back and they're like, check this out. There's a LAN port on this thing. And they want it to be this big exciting thing and it's like, oh, okay, Nintendo. Now look, I'd say it's better that they actually do something like this because we've been asking for the idea of being able to communicate with people at all on the Switch, especially on your friends list, because the most you can do on your friends list is just see what your friends are playing. And that's kind of it. Like, you can't converse with them at all, send a basic text message through the system. Of course, voice chat, for the most part, it's been off the table unless you're using a cell phone. So while it does seem very rudimentary and something we've been used to, especially from the past couple generations with Microsoft and Sony, even down to their Sony's handhelds, it's still a welcomed addition here, and I do wonder how far this is going to really go if maybe that C button is involved, because then they have an entire piece of hardware, technically, the button, that would be linked to it. So you hear about screen sharing, which also a nice touch, right? To be able to maybe showcase what you're doing on your screen and they can see it just quickly in real time, maybe to help them through a certain part or even play games together that way. That's the thing to consider here is Nintendo, when they do these sorts of things, typically then also becomes very Nintendo in a way where they have some ideas to maybe take things a step further and get very creative with it. But to me, again, the big thing here is just the idea of them leaning more so into the community aspect, because it's felt like they've been terrified of that. And I don't know if it was stuff that happened during the 3DS era that kind of put them off, because there were some strange things that happened there, I get it. But it felt so disconnected for the Switch when it comes to the community and people who had the system. I mean, they didn't have like a Street Pass thing. You didn't have any way to link up easily into game. Like, it was halfway through the generation before Nintendo had a system set up to invite people into a game from the dashboard or the system level. And even then it felt very disjointed. And after all of that, the best-selling game on the platform with the Switch was Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is a game that is known primarily for its multiplayer, whether it's local or, of course, online. So yeah, maybe going into this new generation, right from the start, system level, you figure out ways for people to interact completely in a game or outside of it, and maybe even go as far as to share screens and stuff. A lot of potential here. And if it is linked to that C button, and it's more of a community thing, I think that could be really, really cool for Nintendo. So, hey, again, we're going to find out soon, because if this new trailer that's been kicked around as mostly being hardware focused is correct, I assume that C button and that community aspect is going to be a major focus for it. Next up, let's talk about Skate, which was announced, like years ago at this point, and it was a very quick off-the-cuff sort of thing. And I kind of thought it would go away for a while and then eventually come back as this fully featured, full-priced game, right? A new entry in the Skate franchise. And since then, it's kind of evolved, or you could say even devolved into free-to-play, cell phones being included as well. I don't know. It hasn't necessarily gone the way I would have liked to have seen it, but it does at least seem that they are getting closer and closer to it actually coming out. Now, this was posted up over on their official Twitter account, where they say console playtesting is happening. If you want a chance to playtest Skate and help shape the future of the game, be sure to sign up to be a Skate Insider through the link in our bio. So they are really looking to the community to help them create this game, which isn't a bad thing. Early access is a popular avenue for many smaller or medium-sized studios, sure. But in this case, it does seem kind of strange with Skate. And I know, I'm sure one of the ways they were able to pitch the whole thing to EA, or EA in general, was like, how can we make Skate work? Oh, online, live service, free-to-play style game. That makes sense for us, because it can just be ongoing forever. We'll just call it Skate, and we'll get phones involved. I was kind of hoping it would have just been Skate 4, and when they eventually showed it to us, it was kind of ready to come out, or at least they were going to go away for a while and then come back with it after at least giving us the good news that it was in development. But it just, I don't know, it's been a strange thing for Skate compared to what and I'm sure many older Skate fans were hoping to see, especially if you remember back when it first dropped on the Xbox 360 way back in the day. But I am curious if any of you are in the playtest. Let me know down in the comments, because maybe this thing is actually going really well behind the scenes, and they're set to release an awesome experience with Skate, hopefully soon. But if, I guess, console playtest is getting, I don't say getting started, but really getting moving now, I'm not really even sure when this thing is actually going to come out. And since it's been so long, how much further do you go before people kind of just lose interest because of that length of time? Next up, let's talk about a big-time remake coming from Ubisoft that isn't officially announced yet, but there have been a bunch of reports around this thing, and it seems like everyone's sort of expecting Ubisoft to announce this probably in the next few months, and maybe even have this game out by the end of 2025, and that's Assassin's Creed Black Flag Remake. Now, they still have to get Assassin's Creed Shadows out there at some point, and the fact that that game's now been delayed twice does make you wonder if Black Flag Remake will make it out by 2025's holiday, since maybe they want to give a little more time to Shadows and push Black Flag into 2026. But nonetheless, we do have some more information around a game that I was kind of expecting to be a lighter touch-up for the remake. The visuals and stuff will be improved. It will be set up to be more standardized for 4K visuals, and of course they do better texture work and other things. Maybe slightly refine the controls somewhat. Now, it looks like they could actually be doing a lot to this game. Now, this is coming from MP First, who, as we've already mentioned, was sort of making the rounds, finding different websites that artists and developers had in place, and one in particular seemed to be throwing around a lot of information about different games. In this case, we're talking about Black Flag. Of course, we can see this over on their website, where they say the Assassin's Creed Black Flag Remake will feature new systems with combat and ecosystems around wildlife specifically mentioned. There's not much else to mention beyond the team hoping that these new systems will make the classic an outstanding game to rebirth as the next-gen AAA game. So you hear about ecosystems, wildlife, of course, think about Black Flag where you're sailing around and stuff. So there could be some pretty cool encounters, I'm sure, on the high seas, but also when you go to different islands or continents, maybe you run into different wildlife there that they have refined and maybe built up to be bigger experiences, but also with combat and other new systems that I'm sure they've learned a lot from all the other Assassin's Creeds they've done since Black Flag, which was back in 2013. So think about that. It's been more than 11 years since Black Flag came out, and there have been many other titles since then. So yes, they have much more experience, especially in the large open world setting that I'm sure can apply to this Black Flag remake. But the thing I'm just happy to hear is it doesn't seem like something that Ubisoft is going, hey, let's just do some basic work to the visuals, change the combat slightly, and just throw it out there for, I don't say a cash grab, because you still have to do work to it, and the fans would like to see this game come out in a more upgraded state. But it seems like there is a bit more happening here, and that's exciting all the way around, because I'm sure for many people, this is like one of their top Assassin's Creed games, mine included, and I'll be picking this one up day one when it does come out. So here's hoping they're able to get it to market by holiday 2025, because I'd like to play this one sooner rather than later. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about the next big golf game that fans can look forward to, and that's PGA Tour 2K25. It's actually out sooner maybe than people were expecting, because while it was just announced yesterday, it's actually out next month. Now we can see this over on VGC, where they say 2K has announced PGA Tour 2K25. That's for Xbox Series X, S, PlayStation 5, and Steam. EA is doing the thing, though, where if you get the deluxe edition, you'll get it 7 days early. So they have that. That's technically February 21st is the real release date for it. But if you just stick with the standard edition, February 28th. And you can see some of the trailer here as well. Next round, best round. It'll include a roster of 11 male and female golfers at launch. It'll also include 29 licensed courses, with more set to be released as free post-launch DLC, plus an enhanced course designer tool. Top Golf mode and Clubhouse Pass, those are both returning. Of course, can't forget the dressed up battle pass here. Now that one will offer a free tier and obviously a premium $9.99 per season 1 for that. So hey, you know what? This is I'm sure golf fans are real excited about this one. I haven't really been into a lot of the PGA Tour golf game. I remember just Tiger Woods golf way back in the day. I mean, I'm talking like that PS2, GameCube, Xbox era, even kind of like the 360 PS3, those were really good as well. I just remember hitting the shot, and then you knew it was at least good if it went to like that cinematic 16:9, the bars come down and it looks like a movie and like the heart rate is pumping. Those were the good days back then if you knew you were close. Or I guess before that, Cyber Tiger on the PS1. But hey, if you're looking, I guess, for that simulation golf experience, a little more than a month away with PGA Tour 2K25. And before we go to the comment of the day, we'll take a look at the poll that I posted up yesterday, and that's for Game of the Year Madness, which, look at this. It was Indiana Jones versus Black Myth Wukong, and it looks like Indiana Jones is going to take it. Wow. Actually, by almost a 10% swing so far for what I'm looking at here. I mean, there's still time. You never know. There could be a massive comeback that happens overnight or something. But like, wow, that's big time. Indiana Jones, I'm telling you, I think Indiana Jones would have actually had a shot at the Keighley Game Awards if it had come out in time. And that's a real shame because it's a high-quality title. If you have not played it yet, fully recommend it. If you have Game Pass now, you might as well download it and try it out. But otherwise, I think it's even just worth the upfront cost to play it. So, wow, really cool stuff to see Indiana Jones rolling along here. Maybe doing a little bit better than I was expecting, especially up against something like Black Myth Wukong. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day, as you're seeing here. This is from Repo, who says, "We will know the Switch 2 reveal leak is real when Nintendo announce it after Spawn Wave goes up." Yeah, basically any time today it could happen. Honestly, it could happen an hour after News Wave goes up. But what's going to happen, I think, here is... So what most likely they'll do is they'll announce it and it'll be going live the following morning. So I'm going to keep an eye on this whole thing and figure out how we're going to approach this, because it would be very odd and it would definitely look weird if the Switch 2 trailer goes up the same time as Newswave and it's just like immediately out of date. So what I'll do is I'll just keep an eye on things with Nintendo, and when they do make that announcement, I'll probably put up a video just going over it very quickly and then detailing maybe the plan. Let's say if it's going up at 9 a.m., I might just have Newswave postponed basically, and then we just go over it there in real time, because there'll be a ton of fallout, I'm sure, afterwards. Maybe different developers announcing games or reactions or even more information coming up. So it's going to be a crazy, like 48 hours, I'd say, overall. So we'll see if we can navigate this the best we can. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about here today. If you missed yesterday's Newswave, I'll leave it up here in a card. Or maybe you want to take a trip back to the early 2000s and see how some of the video game discourse was then with some different forum posts. I'll leave that right below it. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.